It's a lot of fun. You check it out. I suggest that if you do listen to it, skip like the first 15 episodes or so. They aren't that great.
And you found your groove a few months into it. So
yeah, it takes a little bit.
So everyone check that out. Thanks for coming on, Talking Pro Wrestling. We'll like to have you back maybe in a few months to discuss maybe some SummerSlam action going on.
Absolutely. Also, the G1 started today, so you guys better get on that.
Yes.
It's only like $9 for the month for the New Japan World.
All right, we'll get on that. We'll be talking some foreign wrestling next week, maybe. But this is the Squared Circle. Thanks for tuning in. The 4:30 news wrap-up is next. I don't know where they are.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not next, and we have to go for an hour. And
I wouldn't mind that. An Iron Man match, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's do this. Here comes Zach Turkel.
You're not going to be doing wrestling for a whole entire hour.
All right.
What a heel move, taking us off the air. Take care.
Hi, I'm Rob Leonard, host of Beatles Songs for the past 24 years right here on WHPC. Beatles Songs airs every Friday from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., playing the music of the Beatles together, apart, along with Beatle cover songs and songs the Beatles covered, along with songs the Beatle either guested on and or produced. And of course, we provide Beatle news. It's not the same show where they play the same 10 songs. So join me every Friday for Beatles Songs. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me. But I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's 82 degrees and partly cloudy skies outside our studios in Garden City on this Monday, July 17th. Welcome to the WHPC News Wrap-Up. My name is Zach Turkel, along with Jamie Levine and John Gallo will be here in a few minutes on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Now, our top story. Details about what led a Minneapolis police officer to fatally shoot an Australian woman remained unclear, with authorities saying only that officers were responding to a 911 call about a possible assault when the woman was shot. Minneapolis authorities have not released the woman's name, but the Star Tribune identified her as 40-year-old Justine Damon from Sydney, Australia. The newspaper reported that she was engaged to be married and had already taken her fiancé's last name. The Star Tribune, citing 3 people with knowledge of the shooting, it did not name, but it said that Damon had been the one to call 911 about a possible assault in the alley behind her house. The 3 people said 2 officers pulled into the alley in a single squad car. Damon, wearing pajamas, stood at the driver's side door and talked to the driver. The newspaper sources said the officer in the passenger seat shot Damon through the driver's side door. Officials said the officer's body cameras were not turned on and that a squad car camera did not capture the shooting. Investigators were still trying to determine whether other videos exist.
In local news, police say a New Jersey man has been charged in a 4-vehicle crash in New York City that left 2 people dead and 7 others injured. Authorities say 33-year-old Andrew Shakespeare was driving on Grand Central Parkway in Queens earlier yesterday morning when he sideswiped a car and lost control of his SUV. Police say the sport utility vehicle crossed 3 lanes and hit another SUV, causing both vehicles to hit a guardrail, cross the parkway, and roll over. Shakespeare's vehicle then hit another SUV. Killed were two of Shakespeare's four passengers, 16-year-old Akeem Grant and 34-year-old Leon Campbell, both of Brooklyn. Shakespeare faces charges including DWI and vehicle manslaughter. It couldn't be determined if he has a lawyer. He and 6 people in the other vehicles were injured.
Federal agents have arrested at least 3 members of the MS-13 street gang in connection with the April slaying of 4 young men whose mutilated bodies were found in a park in central Islip, according to court records obtained by Newsday. The 3 men charged were identified in the records as Alexis Hernandez, Santis Lionel Ortiz Flores, and Omar Antonio Valletta. No further identification was immediately available. The 3 were each charged with 1 count of racketeering and 4 counts of murder, 1 count each for the killings of the victims: 16-year-old Justin Levizicura of East Patchogue, 18-year-old Jorge Tigre of Bellport, 20-year-old Michael Lopez Benegas of Brentwood, and 18-year-old Jefferson Villalobos of Pompano Beach, Florida, who was on Long Island visiting his cousin at the time. The 3 suspects were arrested by agents of the FBI's Long Island Gang Task Force working with local police.
A Bronx man used the year-long cover of workout routines coupled with an arm brace as a ruse to work over members of 2 Nassau County fitness clubs, stealing more than $165,000 worth of jewelry and cash from lockers. Alberto Gil used fictitious names to join a Lifetime Athletic and an LA Fitness, and then systematically broke into more than a dozen lockers with a small tool that he used to pick the locks. His take included 13 Rolex watches, diamonds, other assorted jewelry, and cash. The thefts took place between April 14, 2016 and April 13, 2017. Third Squad detectives arrested Gill yesterday at 11:15 in the morning. He was charged with 15 counts of third-degree grand larceny, 2 counts of petit larceny, second-degree falsifications of business records, of possession of burglary tools.
Police in Long Island say 2 people have been struck by a police vehicle at the beach. Authorities say the victims were struck by an officer on beach patrol in Long Beach around 8 last night. The victims were taken to a hospital for treatment. Officials say the victims sustained injuries that aren't life-threatening. Police say the officer involved in the crash was also transported to the hospital. An investigation is ongoing. And meanwhile, in other local news, the U.S. Coast Guard says crew members rescued 4 people from a sinking vessel near Captree State Park off the coast of New York's Fire Island. At about 2:15 yesterday afternoon, the Coast Guard got a call that a vessel of 4 aboard was taking on water. When the rescue crew arrived, there were about 8 inches of water on the onboard bilge pumps weren't working. Everyone aboard the 9-foot pleasure craft had on life vests. All 4 were safely brought to shore on a Coast Guard boat. It's not clear what caused the flooding. No one was injured. The Coast Guard towed the boat to shore. Fire Island is a popular beach destination.
A police officer responded to a medical emergency, and another person suffered minor injuries this morning after their vehicles crashed into each other in Selden. According to an email statement from Suffolk County Police Assistant Commissioner John Myers, the crash happened at about 8 in the morning. Myers said the officer was traveling westbound on Roslyn Avenue, and a 2015 Dodge was traveling northbound on Adirondack Drive when the police patrol car and the Dodge collided at the intersection of the 2 streets. Both the officer and the driver of the Dodge were taken to Stony Brook University Hospital with minor injuries.
We'll be right back with a look at national news. This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Smile.
Are you telling the microphone to smile so you could take a picture of it?
Yeah. So, which side do you think is its good side?
It's just a microphone.
I know, it's a microphone. Perfect. I think I'll put the Lark filter on it.
Why did you take a picture of the microphone, and who cares what filter you're going to use?
You'd care if you followed 903 WHPC on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Wait, I want to go viral. Take a picture of me.
Get
my good side and use that Lark filter.
Follow 903 WHPC on Instagram and join the conversation from the voice of Nassau Community College.
I said get my good side. Delete that.
Oh.
That's 903 WHPC on Instagram from 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome back to the WHPC News Wrap-Up. WHPC News Time, 4:39. In national news, the Republican plan to replace the Affordable Care Act hinges in part on enticing young adults into the insurance market with cheap, bare-bone plans. The argument is that keeps prices lower for everyone, but cheap isn't free, and some young adults would rather play the odds than buy insurance. Analysts say other young adults, especially ones with low incomes or pre-existing conditions, could see their costs soar or drop out of the market. The retooled bill in the Senate includes a proposal from conservative Senator Ted Cruz to allow insurers to sell plans with minimal coverage as long as they also offer more complete coverage. Insurers could deny the slimmer coverage to people with pre-existing conditions or charge them more.
O.J. Simpson could have a good chance at parole when he asked officials this week to let him out of a Nevada prison after serving more than 8 years for an ill-fated bid to retrieve sports memorabilia. He is due to appear by video conference Thursday from the Lovelock Correctional Center to be questioned by parole commissioners who sided with him once before. Prison was a stunning fall for the charismatic celebrity with sports acting and advertising careers. He was one of the world's most famous people even before his 1995 trial and acquittal to the killings of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and his friend Ronald Goldman.
And in other national news, increasing numbers of discarded needles from drug users are turning up in cities and towns across the country, finding their way into rivers, parks, and onto beaches. In Portland, Maine, officials have collected more than 700 needles so far this year, putting them on track to handily exceed the nearly 900 gathered in all of 2016. In March alone, San Francisco collected more than 13,000 syringes, compared with only about 2,900 the same month in 2016. People, often children, risk getting struck by discarded needles, raising the prospect that they could contract blood-borne diseases such as hepatitis or HIV. Cities often prodded by anxious residents are responding to the growing threat by stepping up their tracking and collection efforts. Others are turning to needle exchange programs. And in other national news, authorities say the person who is still missing from a flash flood in central Arizona that killed 9 other people wasn't a 13-year-old boy, but rather a 27-year-old man. The error in characterizing who was still missing was discovered late last night or this morning and was attributed to miscommunications due to the large number of victims. About 40 volunteer search and rescue workers and 4 search dogs resumed the search early this morning. A torrent of water came Saturday as people were cooling off in a creek that suddenly turned treacherous when a rainstorm upstream unleashed floodwaters in the Tonto National Forest. Authorities haven't identified those who died in the floodwaters.
A white former Texas police officer has been indicted on a murder charge in the April shooting death of a black teenager who was leaving a party. Dallas County District Attorney Faith Johnson announced that a grand jury indicated former police officer Roy Oliver in the death of 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. Edwards, a high school freshman, was leaving the party with his 2 teenage brothers and 2 other teens. Police arrived at the scene about 15 miles east of downtown Dallas to investigate an underage drinking complaint when they heard unrelated gunshots and spotted the vehicle leaving. Shots from Oliver's rifle pierced the front passenger window, hitting Edwards in the head as he sat in the front seat. Johnson said Oliver was also indicated on four charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon by a public official related to the other 4 teens who were in the car.
A social media post accused police officers in Alabama of beating a suspect last week and throwing him off of a bridge. Rainbow City Police Chief Jonathan Horton says his officers were soon receiving death threats over the claims. So Horton posted a video that shows the man running from police and jumping off a bridge. The video showed officers locating the man under the bridge and staying with him as he screams in agony over a broken leg. Body cameras have come into use as a way to monitor police behavior, but there is a flip side to it. They can help exonerate officers accused of wrongdoing. Horton says 29-year-old Jonathan Dowen Davis is hospitalized but will face charges later, including resisting arrest. And in other national news, a North Carolina man pleaded guilty to the 2014 shooting death of his elderly neighbor just weeks after receiving a life sentence for plotting a massacre on behalf of the Islamic State. Multiple media outlets report 21-year-old Justin Nojan Sullivan admitted in a Burke County courtroom that he shot and killed 74-year-old John Bailey Clark in December 2014 as he slept in his bedroom. Sullivan was tied to his neighbor's slaying after federal authorities launched a terror investigation, which was prompted by a 911 call in April 2015. His father told police that the young man was destroying religious items in their home in Morganton. Weeks of communications with an undercover informant followed. He was arrested at the family's home on June 19, 2015, after he allegedly communicated with an Islamic State figure that same month via social media about making a video of a terrorist attack. Sullivan was accused of planning to use an assault rifle and silencer to carry out an attack at a concert, bar, or club, which he believed would kill as many as 1,000.